Hello, everybody. Good to have you guys back here. We were excited for the start of the season, albeit maybe not officially with tomorrow night being an exhibition, but I know our guys are excited about playing somebody else and playing in front of people. I think that'll be good. The team we're playing is good. Won 27 games last year, returned basically 4 double-figure scores. They're athletic. This will be an exhibition that, and some of it was intentional. We wanted to play a good team. We just felt like that would be important for this group of guys. So, looking at them on film, that's what they are. They're a good team. They're disciplined and athletic and very, very. Obviously, you win 27 games at the Division II level. You're a quality team. I'm sure there'll be a team that'll be nationally ranked for a good part of this season. So we'll need to be ready and looking forward to it.
Chris, it looked like at the end of practice that we got to watch yesterday, you were showing guys video of Klay Thompson. Are you just trying to inspire someone to hit 14 threes, or
Yeah.
like what do you do that after every practice?
No, we don't. We were not showing 14 made threes. We were showing his teammates' reaction to his teammates enjoying and their reaction to that moment and to really that night of his. That was the purpose for the film.
And this is unrelated then, but you've talked about this team's ability to maybe, if not shoot the three better, but you have more guys who can shoot threes this year. Like, how much are you going to have to hang your hat on that offensively? Like, are you going to have to be a team that shoots well from three to be successful, or is it just, can you get your wins scoring inside like you guys did last year?
Well, I think that, I just think that's the makeup of our team is. I think in the scrimmage the other day we had 7 different guys make a three. We didn't have one guy, make 14, but we had 7 different guys make a three. And I think that's, in particular, what you're looking for in your team is as opposed to 1 or 2 guys that can really shoot, multiple guys. But we're still going to obviously play through the post, and we're still going to utilize our guys in there, in particular Caleb and others that can score, and still going to continue to drive the ball. Do I feel like that our potential to get to the line, free throw line, maybe is as great as it was last year? Not necessarily. We had that a lot in JT, and then Katie got better on that end, and then Caleb did a pretty good job of it. So that is something we'll have to improve in, but I do think our ability to make shots should prove over time to be good.
As far as showing guys, the teammates celebrating for Klay, is that grind of the preseason? Let's show guys like what a team looks like. Is it something that you felt had been lacking and needed to address with the guys, or what? I guess why decide to do that? Yeah,
no, I did not feel like it's something that needed to be addressed by any stretch. I just, we watch a lot of film. We're watching ourselves a lot in the preseason. We watch ourselves a lot throughout the season. But once every day or every other day, I will show them a clip of something that could be completely unrelated to basketball, or it could be completely unrelated to our team. I showed them a football clip the day before in a practice game. Before practice, right before practice. And it's like 1 minute, which, given young people's attention span, fits right into their perfect viewing time. But so it could be a variety of things. It breaks up the monotony of always the clips being about us. And, if there's a good example from another team or another sport or even another walk of life that we feel like relates to how you want your team to construct, how we want our team to conduct themselves, then we want to show it. I'm always looking for stuff like that.
You just said that this is obviously going to be a tough exhibition game as far as exhibition games go, and you've talked about the start of the schedule. Why did you think this was a team or a situation that you wanted to have? I mean, you could have set it up differently, presumably.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if the Gavitt games you could have controlled that, but why did you want to do this with this group the way you're getting this season started?
Well, you know, I think some of it is in your control and some of it isn't. I think the exhibition game, we know the origins of that. Some more former players of Eldon, and we're looking forward to having him back. But they requested that, and I thought it was a terrific on their part. But we also recognize that they're a quality team, so we felt some benefit in that. Now, maybe they're more quality than we were hoping, but. In terms of like Cincinnati, that was always going to be an early season game, Adam. So, you know, whether that was going to be your first, second, or third, that's typically going to, given that game, that was going to be an early season game. The Gavitt game comes at us early. It just so happens that it's at an incredibly hard venue and place to play. And then most important, you know, in my mind, as we're thinking, we have Fort Wayne team in there that is been a very good mid-major basketball team for a number of years. So, you know, am I concerned about this stretch? Sure. I'm anxious to see how we respond to, and hopefully as coaches we can help our guys navigate our way through it.
Chris, when you play a team like this, but it's an exhibition, do you scout them at all, or do you just kind of work on what you're doing? And is it any different from if you were playing maybe a lower tier team in this exhibition?
Yeah, I think to some degree that the quality of exhibition opponent can determine your preparation. But more than anything, you're trying to have your guys begin to learn how we prepare for the regular season right around the corner. So, you know, we typically will do a little bit more kind of leading up from scrimmage to exhibition to first game, to where it's, you know, it's full go by the time we hit our first game.
And then compared to where you were this time last year, I know it's a completely different group, but you said time and time again last year that you were surprised by what last year's team did as the season went on. Just, I guess, inside the coach's room, what's, I guess, the feeling compared this time to last year?
You know, just a lot. I think we're all anxious as a group, excited about this team, excited about I think the progress they've made in the preseason, but also anxious because we have a lot of questions that we have to answer as a group, and we did last year, but I think also, as I've stated a number of times, you know, you had some knowns there too with last year's group. You know, our concerns last year were backcourt depth and how are we going to handle pressure and all those kind of things. But we had some knowns there too, with guys that had produced, and we have some this year. But we've got a lot of questions that we have to answer. So I think more than anything, we're excited, we're anxious, and looking forward to learning a lot about our group here. And you know, I think this stretch will tell us a whole lot really quickly, whether we like it or not.
Last year's team played for one another from the get-go. And does it look like this team could be that way?
Well, I would hope that that's what is said about our team every year. I think oftentimes that's a choice that your group makes individually and collectively. So I would hope that that's what is said about this group. But by no means are we taking that for granted as a given. We're going to have to demonstrate that. And I do think it was on both ends. We were tied together pretty well most games. Maybe not every game, but most games we were really tied together. Hopefully that's a common thing with this group, but we've got to prove that. You know, it's not that's not passed down from one team to the next.
I remember last year when you were first installing stuff, you talked about defense first and then building on the offense. With so many guys leaving after last year, is that kind of the approach again this year, that you'll need to lean on that defense as the offense kind of finds itself early on? Yeah,
I think so. I do think I think so for sure. You know, I do think there's a little bit more of a comfort level probably with the returning guys with with our system and what we're expecting and what we're looking for. Hopefully they're playing a little bit more on instincts than maybe thinking like they were last year. Now that's not true of our new guys. I think our new guys are probably going through some of that stuff. But I think hopefully there's a little more comfort level. But it is going to need to begin with our defense. And as I mentioned, as much as we can, we spent a lot of time on it in the preseason, our defense, because we're going to have to, as coaches, do everything we can to squeeze as much out of this group as possible, because we have some good defensive players, but we lost some length and versatility that was really critical for us on the defensive end last year. It's why we led the Big Ten in defense, because of our versatility.
And when you have these games, the scrimmage the other day, this game tomorrow, that don't count necessarily for your record and whatnot, what do you want to see out of them? What do you want to what do you hope to take away, I guess? What's the approach going in, and then what do you hope to take out of it?
Well, I think you hope you get exposed in some ways, and we will. We will. There's no question about that. I think you hope that your guys understand how you want to play and do that. I think we're going to face some things probably tomorrow that we haven't seen, maybe even or practiced, because it's an unknown. Really, it's a relatively unknown opponent. So adjusting in game to some of that is what we hope to see as well.
I know everyone talks about the uncertainty of this team, but you referenced that there are some knowns. So
yeah.
What are they?
Well, I think Caleb and Andre and CJ, all three have been guys that have played really important minutes, extended productive minutes on a good team. Okay, so I think we know that right there. Other guys that we have returning all, at various times really had productivity for us, from, Micah to Musa to Kyle, to a number of guys. And then you have a guy in Keyshawn who has shown the ability to do some things at a pretty high level. But, anytime, as I said this, anytime you have a team that's picked, lower in their league, typically there's a lot of questions, because maybe not enough guys have done it for extended periods, is typically the reason. But we certainly have some guys that have shown the ability to make major contributions on a good team.
Will Andre's role on offense, will he have a significantly more important role in scoring?
Well, I think we expect his output to increase, and he's going to be certainly involved more. His minutes are going to be more consistent. But he played a lot of minutes last year. As I've said, we're going to need Andre to score the ball for us. If we're going to be a good team, he's going to need to be able to be a guy who can, at times for us, certainly be a double-figure scorer. I believe that. I could be wrong, but I certainly believe that, and I think he's capable of that. But Andre is also a guy who his value is not just in scoring the ball by any stretch. He really does add value to winning possessions in other areas. His rebounding has to improve, but his defensive versatility is good, and I think his offensive output, he'll have more opportunities this year for sure.
At Ohio State Media Day and then at Big Ten Media Day and then today, people have all referenced Kyle Young as someone who has taken a step forward. Why does his name keep coming up in that way?
I don't know. You have to ask them that. Kyle's done some good things. He did some good things for us last year. I just think people see now his role being increased with Keita's absence. And he has done some good things in practice. He's done some good things. And, Kyle's going to be a work in progress like most young guys are. But he's had some very good moments in practice, so that's probably why. We'll go here and then.
I was talking with Keyshawn a little bit, and he was talking about previous stops in his career that maybe he was on some teams that didn't have a ton of success, and then also he felt like maybe not everyone on the team was bought in, and it just sounded like he was one of the guys who was here before you got here. I'm just wondering, when you first got Keyshawn here, did you see any similarities between him and maybe a guy like Jay Sean Tate or Cater or anybody who was here in this program before you got here with some of the things he had gone through previously in his career?
You know, a little bit. We've talked a little bit about that, but not knowing, Bill, the ins and outs of that particular situation. I'm always, or situations, you're always cautious in those. And I think that we all have to kind of own any team or situation we're on that might underperform. We all kind of have to own our role in all of that. And I think Key probably has grown from those experiences, and I think he's grown a lot. He is a really mature kid. He's a good player. He's been terrific for us. But we'll know a lot more about our group and our older guys and how once we go through some real adversity. I'm cautious we'll learn a lot about our group once we go through some stuff.
Well, I guess that's kind of what I was getting at. When a guy is honest, I guess, in that way and tells you that he has struggled with things like that in the past, but he's also a fifth-year senior on your team who you're going to have to rely on, and maybe the beginning of the season might get a little rough for you guys. Like, is that concerning to you? Do you have talks with him about that? Like, we need you to be steady no matter how this goes in the beginning?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely we do. And we talk about what maybe could you have learned that through those experiences, because he's had a wide-ranging variety of experience. This is third school. What can you take and learn from that experience that maybe you saw was done really well, or maybe something you saw or did yourself that you said, maybe if I had to do it over again, I would do something differently. So I've had a number of conversations with him about that, because the thing about Key is he really wants to do the right thing. And he's got a real sense of pride in his work, in his effort. He really does. Like, he wants to do the right thing, and he wants to do the right thing every time. He's been extremely coachable. We're only 23 practices in, but he's been terrific in terms of those areas right now.
A lot has been made of Caleb Wesson's improved three-point shooting in the offseason. Is that something you expect to see a lot in game, or do you think it's just a nice piece for him to have during games?
No, we're more than happy to see it in game as much as possible. He's worked on it. I don't know that it's going to be a situation where you're going to see, he's going to shoot the same volume that necessarily Caden did last year, but I just want him to read. He's not going to live on the three-point line, but there are times he's such a good passer. I mean, he's a really good passer. So you want him on the perimeter because he sees things as well as, you certainly don't want to put guys in a box. Like, he has, at times, point guard type vision. So you want him to we're trying to put him in situations where he can make decisions. When he's not careless with it, he typically makes the right decision.
What sort of lineup could we see tomorrow night? How do you sort of divvy up minutes in an exhibition game when you're still, like you said last night, you might know your starters, but you're not sure yet. How do you divvy up minutes in a game like tomorrow?
Yeah, good question. We'll kind of play it by ear. Like I said, it's a good opponent, so we'll play it. It's an exhibition. We'll play probably a larger rotation than we would in an actual game, but I don't know, Adam, if it's going to be significantly larger in terms of extended minutes. But we will try to go maybe further on our bench than we might in a regular season game.
It might be too early for something like this, but do you look at any redshirt possibilities this season?
Yeah, we've talked about it as a staff and bounced some ideas off guys, but I don't know right now that that's our intention with anyone. You're always kind of aware of that. I had a guy tell me in coaching, if you don't think your freshmen are going to play 10 minutes a game, and you feel like a redshirt possibility is a good one, you should do that every time. But we're not there in terms of making that decision yet.
Would you like to see a rule like they have now in football, where you could maybe play a couple of games, like they changed the rule this year?
Yeah, I think it'd be I would love that. I think all of college basketball would welcome that, and I think it'd be good for the student athlete too. We'll see if that ends up trickling to our level.
CJ,
talked about fitting into roles and everyone knowing their role at this point, but when you have so many unknowns, it's sort of hard to get people to fit into those roles at this point.
Yeah, I think some of that evolves as the year goes on, right? And you learn more about guys and what their capabilities or limitations might be, and you also, guys get better, guys improve, and guys roll and expand. You know, once they embrace a certain role and really do that well, it typically grows. You know, and I'm sure we'll see that with some of our guys. But yeah, I think who we are now, who guys are individually now, could look entirely different in a month and a half, and hopefully to some degree it will look different.
When you're heading into this season, what's the one biggest question mark that you're looking forward to solving?
One biggest question mark. You know, I think I don't know if I have one. Probably, can we consist? I would probably say collectively, what's our leadership going to be? You know, I would say that's probably, you know, if there was one. I also have a question about it. Can we score consistently, and can we defend? But that pretty much encompasses everything. So, anything else? Anybody? Yeah, I do. Thank you. Obviously, this game is you know, we're excited about Coach Miller and his son coming back. What a cool experience that has to be, coaching with your son and coaching with your dad. You know, my dad coached me when I was real little, and that has to be a thrill. So they're a really good team. They're well coached, and to have Eldon and his son back and his former players, you know, this was, at the end of the day, this was something we wanted to do for guys that have really contributed a lot here, and wanted to bring back a former coach. And we're really excited about that opportunity for him to come back and be on the sidelines with his son. Thanks.